Welcome to the Galactic Mind Weather Report. So we just closed off yesterday the infamous Red Serpent Wavespell. That's 13 days dedicated to inspiring the awakening of our life force to thrive through our bodies and to remind us of our survival instinct that has got us to this point in human evolution. As we tend as humans to get a little bit comfortable with the luxuries that have come from the Industrial Revolution, and we often forget the fact that there is still a very gritty, intense evolutionary process at play within our humanity. And the ignorance that comes with, these abundance of luxuries, etc., eventually wears out. And I feel like we're kind of at that point right now in our collective society where we're all being grinded together in a way that's making us realize that, our government's legislations, etc., can only protect us for so long before the very disease of ignorance and human disconnection becomes so big underneath the surface of the individual that it begins to burst out and manifest itself in much scarier, bigger ways out there. So this Red Serpent Wavespell that has just finished yesterday has really been there to wake us up, to snap us out of our comfort, not to make us scared, but to be able to respect fear. Because fear is an evolutionary function that is essential to our survival. Fear highlights where things are out of whack between our perception, our internal way of seeing the world, and what the others around you are seeing. And so that brings us today to the 13 days of the White Mirror Wavespell. So this next 13 days, beginning now, are here to evolve our capacity to essentially reflect deeply at everything that has been stirred up by this Red Serpent Wavespell, to take the time over these 13 days to see everything that has shocked you, that has scared you, that has, triggered you outside of yourself in these last 2 weeks, to actually reflect on that and say, what does that say about me? If I look at how I'm reacting to those things, then there's a lot of secrets that are waiting deep inside me if I'm able to reflect enough to find out what that is. Now, so this period it can be quite harsh, the White Mirror energy, not in a nasty way, but because it's asking us to look in the mirror. And the reason it can be so harsh or uncomfortable sometimes is, the analogy I often use is, if you're feeling miserable, like you're having one of those real shit days and you just kind of, and you go into the bathroom and look at the mirror first thing in the morning, a lot of us generally, we just don't want to look, it's like, because when you look, all you see is ugly. And then you have those days where you're really inspired, you're full of energy and you're happy. And you walk past the mirror and you have a look and you see beauty, you see somebody you respect, you see yourself and you can really love yourself in that reflection. But to be able to see that, you need to internally be in a place to perceive the beauty in yourself. Now, if you are in a miserable, down and kind of space, that's the filter you're perceiving yourself through, and that is what you see in the reflection. So what we're looking at this 13 days is to hone your ability to be very aware of the filters you are perceiving your reality through. And that means reflecting deeply to say, well, I'm pissed off and I'm perceiving everything around me as just being troublesome and too hard and I feel stuck. So we need to reflect on that. Why? Why do we feel that way? What is it that's triggering me to feel that way? Well, somebody's doing this and it means that I can't do what I need to do. You think, well, before we go blaming that person, why is it what they're doing is stopping me from doing what I feel like I need to do? Well, because, if I have to, I don't want to have to speak up to them and tell them, they should know. Well, do they know? It takes you on this pathway to start reflecting, well, what is the truth here? What is the truth in these situations? Because, we can have the most intelligent, brilliant minds and, like the mind of a very sharp lawyer and go out and debate and prove to somebody why it's somebody else's fault. We could do that. We could do that all day long if you like. But it's not going to change the situation. The only thing that will change the situation is when we, instead of pushing our perspective outward, if we actually reflect and go inwards and find out, what can I change in me that can allow energy to move through me more smoothly, that can allow my energy interactions with others to be as unhindered as possible, then begin to actually put those into your life. Because we all have a tendency, when we get stirred up through fear, like this red serpent has just done, to begin to blame outwardly and demand that someone fixes it, demand that there's some kind of solution, that the insurance or this or that. But the fact is, it always comes back to us individually. We do need to be sovereign. We need to take responsibility for our day-to-day lives. And yes, life can be unfair. You know, when you look at it from a superficial perspective. Yes, there are people born in very challenging, tough situations. And there are people that are born in situations that have abundance all around them. And we could argue that for years as to what's fair, what's not, how it happened, etc. But it's kind of irrelevant because we're here now. And so this white mirror Wavespell is about saying, okay, where are you now? Reflect endlessly on what you are doing in order to help clean up your situation, to remove the blockages that you can do. And if it takes you a lifetime, then it's worth doing. You know, just begin. Because if you become overwhelmed by the impossibleness of life, then that's where you will stay. And so this white mirror is saying, don't try to change everything, but spend some time this way as well to look at what is being reflected to you, because your outside reality will show you where your internal blockages are, if you're prepared to listen and not look to blame. And when you can start listening to what's happening around you, you'll begin to identify your own self-sabotaging patterns that are blocking you from being fully awake and fully alive and fully prospering. And then begin to work on those. Do research. You know, we've got all the information in the world at our fingertips. We don't need to go to universities anymore. Just all you need is internet access. And if you're watching this, you've got it. So use the time, the spare time that you have, to research and develop ways to change your life. And then just start somewhere. And remember, it's one step at a time. So be gentle with yourself and with others through this white mirror Wavespell. There will be a lot of triggering potentially happening. And we've got the blue monkey Wavespell coming after that, where we get to recreate the illusion. But if you want to recreate your illusion in your life, then you have to be sure to clean up the old one first. Otherwise, you're going to be building the new illusion on a very ragged and unstable old one. So let's celebrate this reflection. Let's celebrate this clearing and this truth that we're bringing forward. And be the first one to step forward and own your own truth, own your own mistakes, and change them, and focus there. Because if each of us do that, that's a huge shift in the perspective of whole of our planetary reality. So thank you for tuning into the Galactic Mind Weather Report. And I'll see you for the Mid-Wavespell report in about 6 days. Much love in Lakesh.